AITAH for laughing at my SIL when she DNA tested my daughter. I, 35 am, and a single dad to my 7-year-old daughter. I'll call Mia for the post. Mia came into my life under tragic circumstances. Her parents, Sarah and David, who were close friends of mine, were killed in a car accident when she was just a few months old. Sarah and I had known each other since we were kids, and she was like family. We were always just friends, but I also knew David, her husband, quite well. When they passed, it was devastating. Both Sarah and David came from difficult family backgrounds, and there weren't really any next of kin who could step up to raise Mia. I didn't initially see myself as a father figure, but I didn't want Mia to end up in foster care without someone who knew and loved her parents. So, I decided to adopt her and give her the best life I could. My entire family knows Mia is adopted, and I've always been honest with her about it too. I've explained that her parents passed away, and that I stepped in as her dad. Mia understands this and knows I love her, and we have a strong bond. She doesn't look much like me at all. She has her mom's bright blue eyes and her dad's warm smile. People sometimes assume I'm her biological dad, but I usually don't bother correcting them. It's not worth explaining to every person we meet. Recently, though, this situation got weird. My brother Ethan has been with his fiancée, Emily, for a couple of years. Emily knew about Sarah and even knew she had passed away, but she didn't know the full story of Mia's adoption. When we were all at my parents' house one day, Emily found an old photo of Sarah, David, and me. She asked about Sarah, and I explained that she was Mia's biological mother. Emily seemed surprised and stared at the photo for a while, but I didn't think much of it. Apparently, Emily's curiosity turned into suspicion. Without telling me, she took it upon herself to get a DNA test done on Mia, using Ethan's DNA for comparison. When the results came back negative, she felt she had caught me in a lie. She came to me, waving the DNA results, and accused me of raising a dead woman's affair baby. She did this in front of Mia, who was obviously confused and hurt. At that point, I just couldn't help but laugh. I told Emily that adoption is a real thing and that maybe she should look it up. She turned red, stormed off, and later told Ethan I had embarrassed her. Ethan was pretty upset, saying Emily was just trying to help and that I shouldn't have laughed, but I was honestly stunned by the absurdity of it. Why did she feel the need to prove anything? Did she think I'd abandon Mia if I found out she wasn't mine? I'm really hurt and disappointed by the whole thing. Emily's actions were intrusive, disrespectful, and honestly, just bizarre. I've never hidden Mia's adoption from anyone. I've always been open about it, both with my family and with Mia herself. I still can't figure out what Emily hoped to accomplish, but it's hard for me to see her behavior as helpful. Thankfully, Mia is a resilient kid and wasn't too upset. I talked with her afterward and explained that sometimes people make mistakes and don't always understand things the way we do. She took it well, but it's still frustrating. I've done my best to make sure she feels loved and secure, and I don't want this incident to shake that. I also value my relationship with my brother, and I'm really hoping this doesn't leave a lasting rift between us. I'm still in shock that Emily felt justified in going behind my back and then publicly accusing me like that, especially in front of Mia. I think I need to have a serious conversation with Ethan about boundaries moving forward, but I'm still processing everything. So, AITAH for laughing at Emily's accusation? Or was I justified in my reaction? Update. My brother lied to his fiancée about everything. TLDR/spoiler. My brother, Ethan, believed Mia was actually my biological daughter from an affair with her mother, Sarah, and led his fiancée, Emily, to believe this too. He convinced her to do the DNA test to prove I was Mia's biological father. Emily recently came to me, apologized, and told me the truth. After I adopted Mia, my brother Ethan apparently assumed that I was her biological father and that I had secretly been in a relationship with Sarah. He thought that Sarah had become pregnant with my child, but that we decided to let her husband, David, believe he was the father because I wasn't interested in having kids at the time. When Sarah and David passed, Ethan thought I'd adopted Mia to avoid a scandal, and because I had to. Ethan didn't tell me he believed any of this, but he did tell his fiancée, Emily, this entire made-up story. For 2 years, Emily thought I was secretly Mia's bio dad, and Ethan had apparently told her I believed this too. So when she came across the old photo of Sarah, David, and me, she became suspicious. She saw Sarah and assumed I was the one she was hiding the affair with. She also didn't realize David in the picture was Mia's biological father, since I hadn't specified. I assumed she understood Mia was adopted, but clearly Ethan had led her to believe otherwise. Convinced she was protecting me, Emily decided to do the DNA test with my brother's support. Ethan encouraged her, thinking the test would reveal the truth that Mia was mine, which would validate his story. Of course, the results only confirmed I wasn't Mia's biological father, and when Emily confronted me with the results, she assumed I was either in denial or lying. Recently, Emily came to my house, very apologetic and embarrassed. She told me everything Ethan had led her to believe, and she apologized for confronting me with the DNA test in front of Mia. She explained that her own mother had once cheated on her father, and Emily grew up resentful of affairs and the pain they cause. When she saw me with Mia, she was filled with anger, thinking I was unknowingly raising a child from someone else's affair, and that's why she reacted so explosively. I'm not angry with Emily. Given what Ethan had told her, I understand why she felt compelled to get the test done, and even why she confronted me the way she did. She thought she was protecting me, and after learning the truth, she was furious at Ethan for lying to her. She's even considering ending their engagement, and honestly, I don't blame her. When I called Ethan and confronted him, he admitted everything. I asked him why he thought this, and he said he couldn't believe I would have adopted a child without a biological connection, especially when I hadn't been interested in having kids before. He thought adoption only made sense if I was trying to cover up an affair. This revelation has shaken my entire family. Both my parents and I are going low contact with Ethan for now. I hope, in time, I can forgive him, but I'm not there yet. Knowing he genuinely thought I would carry on an affair with a married friend, abandon her during the pregnancy, and only step up after her death is incredibly hurtful. For now, I need distance to process everything. AITAH for admitting I don't find my wife as attractive after her plastic surgery. My wife recently got plastic surgery, which we had discussed beforehand. I was against it, but in the end, it was her choice, and she went through with it anyway. She looks really different now. She had facial fat removed, added fillers to her lips, had a neck lift, and a few other things that I don't fully understand. To be honest, her new look feels off to me. There's something unnatural that I can't shake. It almost feels like she's a stranger, or it's giving me an uncanny valley reaction. Since the surgery, she's been fully healed and ready to get back to normal life, including intimacy. I've tried to go along, but it's been hard for me to initiate as often as I used to, and I make sure it's pretty dark whenever we're together. I just don't feel the same attraction I used to, and it's been bothering me. After a few months of this, she's noticed a change in my behavior. She's asked me multiple times what's going on, but I've been avoiding the truth and making up excuses, saying I'm just stressed from work or feeling tired. But she started to worry more and even asked if I was seeing someone else. I assured her I wasn't, even handed her my phone to prove it. She looked through it, found nothing, and kept pressing me on what was different. I kept dodging the question, but eventually she just wouldn't let it go, so I was honest. I tried to be gentle, but I told her that her new look wasn't what I found attractive and that it had affected my feelings. She asked if that was why I insisted on keeping the lights low, and I admitted that was part of it. She broke down crying and ended up going to stay with her sister. Since she left, I've been getting non-stop messages from her friends and family, all of them furious with me. They're saying I'm an awful person for focusing on her appearance and for crushing her self-esteem. Her sister has even called me a complete a-hole for being so insensitive after she went through a big change. According to everyone around her, I'm 100% the bad guy in this. But I wasn't trying to hurt her, and I didn't know how else to explain what I'm actually feeling. I still love her. I just struggle with the attraction part now. Honestly, it feels like she reminds me of that blue alien singer from The Fifth Element. I'm starting to wonder if being honest makes me the a-hole. Update. Struggling with my wife's appearance after her plastic surgery. My wife came home yesterday, and we finally had a long, honest conversation. She explained that the reason she went ahead with the surgery was because her mom and sister really pushed her into it. They made her feel like she was starting to look old, and that if she didn't do something about it, I'd end up leaving her for someone else. Her mom even gave her the money for the surgeries to help her improve her looks. Now, I don't mean to be harsh, but her mom and sister are the last people who should be advising anyone on cosmetic surgery. They look like something out of a 90s action movie. Think Bruce Campbell in Escape from L.A. It just felt like bad advice, especially coming from them. I took some of the feedback from my original post to heart and tried to approach the conversation more thoughtfully. I told her that I love her and that she's the person I want to be with, no matter what. I explained that her surgery might take some time to settle, but I would try to adjust and learn to appreciate her new look as it becomes more natural. She then asked if I wanted her to reverse the surgery. I was honestly horrified and nearly yelled. The last thing I want is for her to go through more procedures and make things worse. I asked her to please just leave it as it is and let me adjust. We talked for hours and decided that her mom and sister should no longer be involved in our decisions as a couple. She's agreed to leave her face alone and give me time to get used to it. We've also agreed to look for a marriage counselor and possibly individual counseling for both of us. I've promised to make a conscious effort to show her every day that I still find her desirable, and she's going to try to believe me when I tell her I love her exactly as she is. We're also going to have a serious conversation with her mom and sister, letting them know we need space from them. We're blocking them for now and focusing on ourselves before letting them back into our lives. Thank you to everyone who tried to help. I appreciate the support and advice. And to those who found her new look reminiscent of that blue alien from The Fifth Element, I didn't realize so many people had that type of attraction. It's definitely not for me, but hey, to each their own.